Hey YouTube, it's CM Maritime History here, and tonight I am doing the USS New Jersey Part 1. This will either be a this will either be a 3-part or 4-part video series, simply because the information on this ship is very long, spanning from World War II to modern day. Involved in several wars, USS New Jersey is my 25th video. This channel, out of both my channels, the other one unfortunately is no longer available as I've stated in previous videos, but the old channel only made it to 8 subscribers and 17 videos. We are now at 25 videos and 13 subscribers. So I certainly think that's a new milestone. I'm happy for that. And hopefully we can get some new subscribers with this video. Anyway, let's start. USS New Jersey was one of the Iowa-class fast battleship designs planned in 1938 by the preliminary design branch of the Bureau of Construction and Repair. She was launched on December 7, 1942, the first anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor, and was commissioned on May 23, 1943. The ship was the second of the Iowa class to be commissioned by the U.S. Navy. The ship was christened after launching by Carolyn Edison, wife of Governor Charles Edison of New Jersey, himself a former Secretary of the Navy, and commissioned at Philadelphia on the 23rd of May, 1943, with Captain Carl F. Holden in command. Her main battery consisted of 9 16-inch 50 caliber Mark 7 guns and 3 3-gun turrets. She could fire 2,700-pound armor-piercing shells some 23 miles. Her secondary battery consisted of 25-inch 38 caliber guns mounted in twin-gun dual-purpose turrets. Sorry, like I said, I don't know if I said it in my last video. I'm having a little bit of a cold, so if you hear me coughing, I'm sorry. Which should hit targets up to 9 miles away. With the advent of air power and the need to gain and maintain air superiority, and the need to protect the growing fleet of Allied aircraft carriers, so New Jersey was fitted with an array of Oerlikon 20mm and Bofors 40mm anti-aircraft guns. When reactivated in 1968, New Jersey had her 20mm and 40mm anti-aircraft guns removed, and was tailored for use as a heavy bombardment ship. When reactivated in 1982, New Jersey had 4 twin 5-inch 38 caliber DP mounts removed. She was outfitted with 4 Phalanx close-in weapon system mounts for protection against missiles and aircraft, and 8 armored box launchers and 8 quad cell launchers designed to fire Tomahawk missiles and Harpoon missiles, respectively. Her main deck was 53,000 square feet of teak. I don't know what teak is, but if I remember correctly, it's like I think it's like cork, almost. Remember correctly? I could be thinking of another different kind of teak, but I believe that's what teak is. It's like rubbery, I think. Unlike the other Iowa class battleships, New Jersey was named by President Franklin D. Roosevelt to repay a political debt to then New Jersey Governor Charles Edison. During his time in the Navy Department, Edison pushed to build the Iowa class and to build one at the Philadelphia Navy Yard, which secured votes for Roosevelt in Pennsylvania and New Jersey in the 1940 presidential election. Now, you'll see a similar picture of the New Jersey later on in the video. It's just this one's not firing and the other one is firing. Just want to let you guys know that. Now, not this video. That'll probably be part 2 or 3. Because, sorry, this video is going to be pretty long. Because this is the whole World War II part. New Jersey completed fitting out and trained her initial crew in the Western Atlantic and Caribbean Sea. On January 7, 1944, she passed through the Panama Canal warbound through Funafuti, Ellice Islands. She reported there on January 22nd for duty with the United States Fifth Fleet, and 3 days later rendezvoused with Task Group 58.2 for the assault on the Marshall Islands. New Jersey screened the aircraft carriers from Japanese attack, as planes from Task Group 58.2 flew strikes against Kwajalein at Inuiatok on January 29th and February 2nd, softening up the latter for its invasion and supporting the troops who landed on January 31st. New Jersey began her career as a flagship on February 4th in Majuro Lagoon when Admiral Raymond A. Spruance, commanding the Fifth Fleet, broke his flag from her main. Her first action as a flagship was in Operation Hailstone, a 2-day surface and airstrike by her task force against the major Japanese fleet base on Truk in the Carolines. This attack was coordinated with the assault on Kwajalein and effectively interdicted the Japanese naval retaliation in the conquest of the Marshalls. On the February 17th and 18th, the task force accounted for 2 Japanese light cruisers, 4 destroyers, 3 auxiliary cruisers, 2 submarine tenders, 2 submarine chases, an armed trawler, a plane ferry, and 23 other auxiliaries destroyed. I'm not sure if that means like destroyed the task force. Yes, the Japanese, so it destroyed them. Sorry. Not including the small craft. New Jersey destroyed a trawler and other ships sank the destroyer Maikaze. New Jersey also fired on an enemy aircraft and attacked her formation. The task force returned to the Marshall Islands on February 19th. Between March the 17th and April the 10th, New Jersey first sailed Rear Admiral Mark A. Mitzger's flagship Lexington for an air and surface bombardment of Mille, then rejoined Task Group 58.2 for a strike against shipping in the Palaus, and bombarded WWII. Upon his return to Majuro, Admiral Spruance transferred USS Indianapolis, which would later become, under Captain Charles McVay, the worst shark attack in history. Sorry. I don't know why I keep coughing. New Jersey's next war cruise, April the 13th to 4th of May, 1944, began and ended at Majuro. She screened the carrier striking force, which gave air support to the invasion of Itapi, Tanamera Bay, and Humboldt Bay, New Guinea, April the 22nd. Then shelled shipping and shore installations at Truth on April the 29th and 30th. New Jersey and her formation shot down 2 enemy torpedo bombers at Truk. Her 16-inch salvos pounded Panape on May the 1st, destroying fuel tanks, badly damaging the airfield, and demolishing a headquarters building. After rehearsing in the Marshalls for the invasion of the Marianas, New Jersey put to sea on June the 6th in the screening and bombardment group of Admiral Mitzger's task force. On the second day of pre-invasion airstrikes, on June the 12th, New Jersey shot down an enemy torpedo bomber, and during the next 2 days, her heavy guns battered Saipan and Tinian in advance of the Marine landings on June the 15th. The Japanese response to the Marianas operation was an order to its main surface fleet to attack and annihilate the American invasion force. Shadowing American submarines tracked the Japanese fleet into the Philippine Sea as Admiral Spruance joined his task force of Admiral Mitzger's to meet the enemy. New Jersey took station in the protective screen around the carriers on June 19, 1944, as American and Japanese pilots dueled the Battle of the Philippine Sea. That day and the next would cripple Japanese naval aviation in what would be known as the Marianas Turkey Shoot. The Japanese lost some 400 planes for less than 24 American aircraft in return. And this loss of trained pilots and aircraft was equaled in disaster by the sinking of the Japanese aircraft carriers Taiho and Shokaku by the submarines Albacore and Kavala, respectively, and the loss of Hio, the aircraft-launched and light aircraft carrier Belleau Wood. In addition to these losses, Allied forces succeeded in damaging 2 Japanese carriers and a battleship. The anti-aircraft fire of New Jersey and the other screening ships proved virtually impenetrable. 2 American ships were slightly damaged during the battle, and only 17 planes were lost. American planes, that is. New Jersey's final contribution to the conquest of the Marianas was the strikes on Guam and the Palaus, from which she sailed for Pearl Harbor, arriving on August 9th. Here she broke the flag of Admiral William F. Halsey, Jr. on August 24th, becoming flagship on the United States Third Fleet. On August 30th, New Jersey set sail from Pearl Harbor, and for the next 8 months she was based at Ulithi to lend support to Allied forces operating in the Philippines. In this span of the Pacific War, vast carrier task forces ranged the waters of the Philippines, Okinawa, and Formosa, making repeated strikes at airfields, shipping, shore bases, and invasion beaches. In September, targets were in the Visayas and the southern Philippines, then Manila and Cavite, Panay, Leyte, and Cebu. Early in October, raids to destroy enemy air power based on Okinawa and Formosa were begun in preparation for the Leyte landings of October the 20th, 1944. This invasion brought on the last great sortie of the Imperial Japanese Navy. Its plan for the Battle of Leyte Gulf included a feint by a northern force of planeless heavy attack carriers to draw away the battleships, cruisers, and fast carriers of which Admiral Halsey was protecting the landings. This was to allow the Japanese center force to enter the Gulf through San Bernardino Strait. At the opening of the battle, planes from the carriers guarded by New Jersey struck hard above the Japanese southern and center forces, sinking a battleship on October the 23rd. The next day, Halsey shaped his course north after the decoy force had been spotted. Planes from his carriers sank 4 of the Japanese carriers, as well as a destroyer and a cruiser, while New Jersey steamed south at flank speed, which is the fastest speed any ship can go, to meet the newly developed, it's even faster than full speed, the center force. It had been turned back in a stunning defeat when she had arrived. New Jersey rejoined her fast carriers near San Bernardino October 27, 1944, for strikes on central and southern Luzon. 2 days later, the force came under kamikaze attack. In a melee of anti-aircraft fire from the ships in combat air patrol, New Jersey shot down a plane whose pilot maneuvered into the port gun galleries of the USS Intrepid. while machine gun fire from a Shepard wounded 3 of New Jersey's men. Yes, they were both United States ships, so friendly fire pretty much killed 3 people on New Jersey. During a similar action on November the 25th, 3 Japanese planes were shot down by the combined fire of the force, part of the one flaming onto the flight deck of the USS Hancock. Intrepid was again attacked. She shot down one would-be kamikaze aircraft, but was crashed by another despite hits scored on the attacker by New Jersey gunners. New Jersey shot down a plane diving on USS Cabot and hit another plane which smashed into Cabot's port bow. On December the 18th, 1944, the ships of Task Force 38 unexpectedly found themselves in a fight for their lives. A Typhoon Cobra overtook the force. 7 fleet and 6 light carriers, 8 battleships, 15 cruisers, and about 50 destroyers during the attempt to refuel at sea. At the time, the ships were operating about 300 miles east of Luzon in the Philippine Sea. Carriers had just completed 3 days of heavy raids against Japanese airfields, suppressing enemy aircraft during the American amphibious operations against Mindoro in the Philippines. They rendezvoused with Captain Jasper T. Acuff and his fueling group on December 17th with the intention of refueling all ships in the task force and replacing lost aircraft. Although the sea had been growing rougher all day, the nearby cyclonic disturbance gave relatively little warning of its approach. Each of the carriers in the Third Fleet had a weatherman on board. Commander G. F. Costco, a graduate of the Aerology Corps of Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or MIT, who had also studied hurricanes in the West Indies. Despite this, none of these individuals or staffs were able to give Third Fleet due warning of the impending typhoon. On December the 18th, a small but violent typhoon overtook the task force while many of the ships were attempting to refuel. Many of the hulls were Many of the ships were caught near the center of the storm and buffeted by extreme seas and hurricane-force winds. 3 destroyers, Hall, Monahan, and Spence, capsized and sank of nearly all hands, while a cruiser, 5 aircraft carriers, and 3 destroyers suffered serious damage. Approximately 790 officers and men were lost or killed, with another 80 injured. Fires occurred in 3 carriers when planes broke loose in their hangars, and some 146 planes on various ships were lost or damaged beyond economic repair by fires, impact damage, or by being swept overboard. As of the other battleships of Task Force 38, skillful seamanship brought New Jersey through the storm largely unscathed. She returned to Ulithi on Christmas Eve and met by Fleet Admiral Chester Nimitz. New Jersey ranged far and wide from December 30th, 1944 to January 25th, 1945 on her last cruise as Admiral Halsey's flagship. She guarded the carriers in the strikes on Formosa, Okinawa, and Luzon, on the coast of Indochina, Hong Kong, Swatow, and Amoy, and again on Formosa and Okinawa. At Ulithi on January 27th, Admiral Halsey lowered his flag in New Jersey, and it was replaced 2 days later by that of Rear Admiral Oscar C. Badger II, commanding Battleship Division 7. In support of the assault on Iwo Jima, New Jersey screened the Essex Group in air attacks on the island on February 19th and 21st, and gave February 19th through the 21st, and gave the same crucial service to the first major carrier raid on Tokyo on February 25th, a raid aimed specifically at aircraft production. During the next 2 days, Okinawa was attacked from the air by the same striking force. New Jersey was directly engaged in the conquest of Okinawa from March the 14th until the 16th of April. As the carriers prepared for the invasion with strikes there and on Honshu, New Jersey fought off air raids, used her seaplanes to rescue downed pilots, defended the carriers from kamikaze planes, shooting at least 3 and assisting in the destruction of others. On March 24th, 1945, she again carried out the role of heavy bombardment, preparing the invasion beaches for the assault a week later. During the final months of the war, New Jersey was overhauled at Puget Sound Naval Shipyard, from which she sailed on the 4th of July for San Pedro, Pearl Harbor, and Eniwetok, bound for Guam. Here on August 14th, she once again became flagship of the 5th Fleet under Admiral Spruance. Brief stays at Manila and Okinawa preceded her arrival in Tokyo Bay on September the 17th, where she served as flagship for the successive commanders of naval forces in Japanese waters until relieved on 28th of January 1946 by the USS Iowa. As part of the ongoing Operation Magic Carpet, New Jersey took aboard nearly 1,000 homeward-bound troops, with whom she arrived at San Francisco on 10th of February. I'm really sorry, guys. I can't stop the coughing. This will be our last part for Part 1, New Jersey. Here you can see her guns, Um, she's, I'm not sure if this is in the museum ship or if she's just, going along, like, around in the bay. After West Coast operations and a normal overhaul at Puget Sound, New Jersey came home to Bayonne, New Jersey for a rousing fourth birthday party on May the 23rd, 1947. Present were Governor Alfred E. Driscoll, former Governor Walter E. Edge, and other dignitaries. Between June 7 and August 26, New Jersey formed part of the first training squadron to cruise northern European waters since the beginning of World War II. Over 2,000 United States Naval Academy and NROTC midshipmen received seagoing experience under the command of Admiral Richard L. Connolly, Commander Naval Forces Eastern Atlantic and Mediterranean, who broke his flag in New Jersey at Rosyth, Scotland on June the 23rd. She was the scene of official receptions in Oslo, where King Haakon VII of Norway inspected the crew on July the 2nd and at Portsmouth, England. The training fleet was westward bound from July the 18th for exercises in the Caribbean and Western Atlantic. After serving at New York as flagship for Rear Admiral Heber H. McLean, Commander Battleship Division 1, September 12th through the 18th of October, New Jersey was inactivated at the New York Naval Shipyard. She was decommissioned at Bayonne June 30th, 1948, and assigned to the New York Group Atlantic Reserve Fleet. Okay, guys, so this is the end of part 1 of the USS New Jersey story. In part 2, we'll talk about the Korean War. We might cover her role in the Lebanese Civil War as well, but that's definitely probably at this point going to be a part 3 or part 4. I hope you guys have it. Depends on how the coughing ends up. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I know it's been long, but then again, World War II was a very long and very interesting period for the New Jersey. I hope you guys have enjoyed, like I said. Keep telling your friends to like and subscribe. If you haven't already, please do so. Smash that like button. Leave a comment if you have an idea for a video. I will get to them as soon as I possibly can, but right now my list grows every day, like I said in my Mariposa video. Maybe it was the Leontine, I'm not sure. One of the two. But have a good day. Bye.